Hi, my name is Xavier Kataquapit. I'm an Indigenous writer and columnist originally from Attawapiskat First Nation, a remote community on the James Bay coast in northern Ontario. Watje, sabi Kataquapit na sinagasan, Attawapiskat First. Since 1998, I've been writing a regular column titled Under the Northern Sky, as well as news articles about Indigenous issues, life, culture, traditions, communities, and politics. My writing has appeared throughout Canada in print and in radio. I'm happy to provide you this YouTube channel so that I can read you some of my work on a regular basis. I'll be adding to the channel as I develop it, and please feel free to like, subscribe, and share this video. This story is called The Learning Curve. Things are getting better all the time for my people, the Cree along the James Bay coast. Many communities like Attawapiskat have their own public and secondary schools so that children don't have to be sent outside the community for an education. Depending on who you talk to, there are pros and cons about this situation. Personally, I believe it is a good thing for our students in our communities to be able to get an education in a familiar surrounding where they can be near their family. It wasn't long ago that when it came to an education, people had to leave the community and travel to southern cities. I can speak from experience when I tell you that this arrangement was hard on a teenager. It was difficult at a young age to be away from family and friends, even though I had great native counselors and good boarding homes. Without the structure of family and the familiar surroundings, it was difficult to stay focused and motivated. This was a confusing time for me, but I must admit that I also learned a lot about the non-native world. I can only imagine how difficult it must have been for our elders, who, when they were children, were taken from their families, their communities, and their traditional lifestyle and put into residential schools. I know it must have been hard on mothers and fathers to see their children go. I imagine it must have been very sad and lonely for a lot of the children who had to go through the residential school system. I remember one elder telling me he was taken from his grandmother who was raising him at the time. He was placed in the residential school in his community where he could see his home and his grandmother, but could not return full-time to live with her. This experience caused him great pain and suffering and made him feel like he was being abandoned. The fact is, many atrocities were committed and the effect is ongoing. It was just a very bad idea, and the concept of taking children away from their families for whatever reason just doesn't make any sense. I consider myself fortunate to come from a good family, and I am very thankful that I was educated to a large degree in my home community. There is no doubt that I would not be the same person I am today if I had to deal with being processed through the residential school system. More and more Native people are taking control of their lives, and education is a very important part of this development. We know what we need to survive, we know what we need to learn, and we know the values, traditions, and cultural aspects that we want to pass on to our children. Just let us do it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this story. I'll have lots more coming your way. Amigos, mini-visit naman the batch one. Nagkamata, patuamina. Amigos, watch